Good evening. We begin tonight with facts in the face of one political party's attempt to whitewash history at home and abroad. Now, this isn't about policy differences or the philosophical distinctions between Democrats and Republicans. It's simply about fact versus fiction. The GOP's willingness to cynically embrace fiction and the damage this is doing. Now, today, as part of the court case against one of the people accused of assaulting police at the Capitol on the 6th of January, the Justice Department released new video. It's body cam video from one of the officers there that day, assaulted that day. And we're going to play it for you uncut. It's brutal, and it's ugly, and it contains profanity. And as you watch it, remember, the majority of Republicans in Congress do not want a full investigation into this. And some have even said publicly that what you're about to see didn't actually happen. These are people carrying Trump flags and Confederate battle flags, overrunning a police line outside the Capitol. Trump supporters, violent ones. People willing to beat and trample members of law enforcement. People willing to assault police officers once they got inside. This, too, is new video. It's a different angle on footage you've probably already seen of one officer getting crushed in a doorway. This is what is now being whitewashed. And the denial is now so deep among the GOP that 21 House Republicans could not even bring themselves to vote for legislation honoring the men and women for the bravery they showed and the sacrifices they made in defending them on that day. Now, again, this new video was taken by an officer, and those 21 people you just saw don't want to honor that officer or any one of them. One of those 21, Congressman Andrew Clyde of Georgia, could not even summon the common decency to shake one of the officer's hands. Clyde is the guy who said the mob behaved like normal tourists. That guy. And he's lying, and he knows he's lying. He was there. Officer Michael Fanone was badly injured by the mob. He confronted Congressman Clyde yesterday.
I was very cordial. I extended my hand to shake his hand. He just stared at me. I asked him if he was going to shake my hand, and he told me that he didn't know who I was. So I introduced myself. I said that I was Officer Michael Fanone, that I was a D.C. Metropolitan Police officer who fought on January 6th to defend the Capitol. And as a result, I suffered a traumatic brain injury as well as a heart attack after having been tased numerous times at the base of my skull, as well as being severely beaten. At that point, the congressman turned away from me, pulled out his cell phone. It looked like he was attempting to pull up like an audio recording app on his phone, and again, like never acknowledged me at any point. As soon as the elevator doors opened, he ran as quickly as he could, like a coward.
And no story about Congressman Clyde is complete without reminding you that is him on January 6th, spot shadowed, literally barricading the door from the mob, hiding from the mob, concerned about, scared by the mob, knowing that his life and others were in danger from violent supporters of the president he supports. Still, now that guy is pretending they weren't really any different than tourists visiting the Capitol. There's also news about Senator Ron Johnson today, another profile on courage. It wasn't a real insurrection because the attackers didn't have firearms jive. Well, just today, wouldn't you know it, one of the attackers was charged with bringing a firearm to the Capitol on January 6th. Not that it matters much anyway, given that the attackers weaponized anything they could get their hands on to beat multiple officers to within inches of their lives. Sticks, pipes, flagpoles, tasers, as you just heard from Officer Fanone, batons, you name it. They used it all. So Senator Johnson is lying, and he knows it. So does Kevin McCarthy, of course, the top House Republican. He knows what the insurrection truly was and on whose behalf it was carried out, and we know he knows it because he said so.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
A short time after he said that, though, after traveling to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the former president's ring, or Latin equivalent thereof, he, too, began whitewashing what happened. He purged Liz Cheney, the only Republican House leader who saw the insurrection for what it was, and he let 1,000 crazy conspiracy flowers bloom from what used to be the fringe of his party, but is now the face of it. Matt Gaetz is now retweeting a new theory being peddled on Fox News that FBI operatives organized and participated in the attack. So, of course, did Marjorie Taylor Greene. Congressman Paul Gosar is claiming federal officials incited it and says that a QAnon follower killed in the attack was executed by law enforcement. Their leader, Kevin McCarthy, tolerates it all and sets the example. He set the bar pretty high there. Here's what he said about President Biden at the summit in Geneva. And spoiler alert, it is also a lie, and he knows it. Quoting from a portion of McCarthy's statement yesterday, he said, President Biden should have used today's summit to stand up for our national interests and send a message to the world that the United States will hold Russia accountable for its long list of transgressions. Unfortunately, President Biden gave Vladimir Putin a pass. Now, look, you can agree or disagree with the president's Russia policy. I'm not here to support any political party's policies. You can raise questions about how the president plans to confront Russia. You can raise questions about how the president plans to contain the threat that Russia poses to this country and to our allies. You can raise all kinds of issues that reasonable people of all foreign policy and national security persuasions might differ on. But Congressman McCarthy did not do that in that quote. He's just lied. And he lied really, stupidly. Because whatever else President Biden did when it comes to the congressman's, quote, long list of transgressions, it's obviously clear that he did not give Putin a pass.
How could I be the president of the United States of America and not speak out against the violation of human rights? I pointed out to him that that's why we're going to raise our concerns about cases like Alexei Navalny. And I raised the case of two wrongfully imprisoned American citizens, Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. I made it clear that we will not tolerate attempts to violate our democratic sovereignty or destabilize our democratic elections, and we would respond. I communicated the United States' unwavering commitment to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. I pointed out to him we have significant cyber capability, and he knows it. He doesn't know exactly what it is, but it's significant. And if in fact they violate these basic norms, we will respond. Cyber. He knows.
And Kevin McCarthy also knows. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy critiquing President Biden for, in his words, giving Putin a pass at the summit is so brazenly hypocritical that it almost makes you impressed by his complete lack of shame. We have seen a president give Vladimir Putin a pass at a summit in front of cameras on live television. It was the guy who's now wasting away in Mar-a-Lagoville, to quote Jim Acosta. Let's just for reference look at the tape. The former president with Putin in Helsinki after being asked about the assessment by America's own intelligence professionals, including his handpicked director of national intelligence, Dan Coats, that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
My people came to me, Dan Coats came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
That was in 2018. And at the time, Congressman McCarthy was a functioning adult with a working set of ears, by all accounts, also a memory. But irony is dead, so is shame, apparently. But lying, that is alive and well, and it's all part of a scheme to get the public accustomed to even more lies down the road, to show their supporters they can lie with impunity and demoralize anyone who still believes that in the public arena, the simple truth can still prevail.